Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Simon Lizotte has a Proto 2 and a Proto 3 balance that have come out. He hasn't picked one yet. I don't know. I've heard any day he might be picking which one is going to be in his bag. But a lot of you guys have asked, how does that compare to a Matrix and a Reactor? Well, we're going to go head to head. Proto 2, Proto 3, Reactor, Matrix. Let's go. We've got a little field test competition going on here. Got the Proto 2, Proto 3, Matrix, Eclipse, Reactor. We got a little bit of wind out here, which is perfect for these overstable or slightly overstable mid-ranges. All right, let's test them out. Okay, we're gonna start with the Proto 2 balance right here. If you haven't seen my review on these, you should check them out up here. But let's see how this one flies first. Gonna throw it nice and flat. There we go, nice and flat. Look at that stability. We even got a little bit of a crosswind going over here. No match for that. Now we also got the Proto 3 right here. So let's throw this one nice and flat. Yeah, that one's definitely a little bit straighter, but they're gonna end up pretty much in similar spots. Okay, now we've got the Matrix and the Reactor here. Numbers on the Reactor are 5.5, negative 0.5, positive 1.5. That's a mouthful for sure. And then we got the Matrix, which is 5.4, negative 1, 2. So let's go with the Reactor first, then the Matrix. Yeah, Reactor for me is a very straight flying disc, basically almost like a hex. Might be a slight more stability than the hex, but honestly, once it beats in, very comparable to a hex. Now let's go with the Matrix. Got a nice little proton plastic one here. Yeah, got a nice little turn to it. Let's see the fade. Oh, that's beautiful. Slightly more stable than a hex, which from what I hear from Simon, he's looking for something like that, maybe more overstable than the Matrix. What we're looking for here is how do the Proto 2 and 3 stack up against discs that should be a little bit less stable than these balances. And right now I can basically see that Proto 2 and 3 are definitely more stable than the Reactor and the Matrix for sure. Man, I haven't really thrown the Matrix very much, but this thing might bump out the Reactor from my bag because this Reactor is getting a little bit beat in. It's almost too close to my hex. So that might be a good combo. Have the Matrix, then the balance, then the Pyro, who knows? Okay, so now I'm gonna throw them in what I believe is the most stable to the least stable. So that's gonna be Proto 2, Proto 3, Matrix, and Reactor. We're gonna throw them nice and flat. We do have a slight crosswind, although right now it has kind of died down. I'm just gonna lay these flat for now, and then we'll do a little Anheuser-Heiser on the next throws. All right, so here we go, Proto 2 first. Yep, flying just like the Proto 2. Great shot. Proto 3. This should be a little bit less stable. Was able to get that one a little flatter than the Proto 2 for sure. Then the Matrix, basically what I'm gonna see here, I think, is just a slight little bit more turn than that Proto 3. Oh, yanked that a little bit. All right, flying nice and straight, got a little turn, little dump, in a similar spot to the Proto 3. And that right there, I think, might be the reason why Simon doesn't pick the Proto 3, because the Matrix and the Proto 3, I think, are close enough that it wouldn't make sense for him to have both. My vote has always been with the Proto 2, which I think is gonna be his vote too. All right, Reactor. There we go. Yeah, with this crosswind, it's gonna be a little hard to see, but Reactor, Matrix, Proto 3 are in the same boat with this crosswind. Proto 2, much more stable. Overstable, sorry, much more overstable. Don't light me up in the comments for that. All right, next throw, I think we're gonna try Anheuser on these. They have enough stability, even with this crosswind. They should be able to fight out of the Anheuser, give us a little finish. Hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more difference. Am I blurry? There I am. All right, hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more stability difference with this shot. All right, let's try doing an anhyzer, and then we're gonna come back and do a hyzer shot. So let's go again in the same stability range from last time. Most overstable to the least overstable. Again, I still think it's Proto 2, Proto 3, Matrix, Reactor. All right, Proto 2's up. There we go, slight anhyzer, fights out of it, no problem. Gives us a dump. Love it. Proto 3. Yeah, holds that anhyzer a little bit longer and gives us a fade. I think that was affected by the crosswind a little more than the Proto 2, but still guys, I still think I've thrown these quite a bit. Proto 3 is definitely more understable than the Proto 2. Matrix time. That one lifts. I've noticed this the last 2 times when I throw it. Gets a little bit more lift than the other ones. Not sure what that's about. And reactor time. Man, I really love that disc. Honestly, maybe what I'll do is I'll take the hex out of the bag, because this thing's flying more like a hex for me. Man, reactor, especially in this Eclipse plastic, just a beautiful straight disc, and then it gives you just a little bit of a dump at the end. Okay, so clearly the V2 balance, way more stable than these other 3 discs for sure. Matrix, Eclipse, version 3 of the balance are all kind of in the same boat. There's very subtle, slight differences. Just comes down to what nose angle you put it on, how the wind's flying. But I can kind of say that those 3 are all in the same boat. The V2 balance is in another class by itself. Final shot we're gonna do anhyzer. We got the crosswind going this way, so we're really gonna see how these overstable discs fight against it. This time we're gonna do reverse order. We're gonna go with the most understable to stable. So that means we're gonna start with the reactor first. There we go, holding that anhyzer, and then it's got enough to fight out, and definitely that crosswind helped it fighting out. All right, now let's go with the Matrix, try to do a similar line. There we go. Fighting out yet again, and ends up a little bit more to the left than the Eclipse reactor, just a tiny bit. All right, now let's go V3. Let's see how this stacks up against those 2 discs. Yeah, fight out. All right, definitely straighter than those 2 for sure. All right, and then the most overstable out of these 4 for sure is the V2. Yeah, and all of a sudden the crosswind just kind of stopped for some reason. All right, yet again guys, sorry, mixed results there. Those last 2 throws, the crosswind just dead stopped, but trust me, that V2 is beefy. That's why it's good to find a good, reliable disc reviewer out there who's gonna be consistent and who's gonna be able to tell you the truth. Even though sometimes the throws might not show it on film, you gotta trust me. V2 is definitely more stable than the V3 for sure. And like I said, my Eclipse reactor is starting to beat in to a point where it's almost like a hex. All right guys, well thanks for tuning in. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of a competition between these 4 discs. Obviously the V2 is way more stable than these guys. These 3 right here actually would make a pretty good video. Maybe that'll be a future video coming up. Take them out to a course. Let's see which one of these 3 stand out. But this one obviously is in a class by itself. That's why I still think Simon's gonna end up picking the V2. Plus, I really like my V2 because it's got some swirly blue and white plastic on it. Super sick. Hoping that this is really gonna be the one. Nice complement to some other discs in the mid-range lineup of MVP. All right guys, if you're looking to get some discs like these and these when they come out in the stock release, head on over to Disc Golf Deals USA. Use my code, it'll save you 10%. Till I see you next time, peace out.